Hey, movie fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Uncharted Media podcast. We're back! I don't know why, Josh, but for some reason, this break felt longer than usual. Like, it's our usual 2 weeks off, but for some reason, this felt like a really long time. It's not like we've really missed any movie news other than Avatar doing well at the box office. But besides that, holy cow, it's been dry.
Yeah.
But we're back. We've got big things planned for 2023. And first on the docket, one of your favorite annual traditions. No, not predictions. We'll get into why in a little bit here, but first episode of 2023, we're going to look at our top 10 most anticipated movies of this year. This year is really, really difficult because this is the year that, like, all those pandemic movies that got really delayed, they all kind of got stockpiled into this year. I'm super excited, but it made this list really hard to narrow down. So, some of you astute listeners might be asking, well, I thought your normal tradition was the first podcast episode of the year is your predictions episode, to which I'd say you are correct. However, there's something on the horizon that's kind of throwing a wrench in this, potentially, with the whole James Gunn has promised the future slate, at least a couple of movies in the upcoming slate of DC movies, will be announced sometime in the beginning of January. So we're going, let's give James a few more days.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to say something and then be completely off or completely wrong, like literally a day or two later. So next week, no matter what, we're doing predictions. We're just going to wait just a little bit longer just in case that DC slate, whatever is going to be announced, that's going to be a big news story across the board. So we're going to have to factor that into our decisions going forward and our predictions going forward. And also, it just makes more sense. Why make a prediction now that's just going to be disproven literally 3 days later? So we're going to do predictions next week. And for now, we're going to talk about things that theoretically are concrete and they're happening this year. But Josh, welcome back. How's your long break?
It was great, man. I did all kinds of stuff. My brother, his wife, and their new kid came up to Tennessee to visit everybody, and then Southwest promptly canceled literally 2/3 of their flights. So I drove them down to Texas. So that was a grand old little adventure unplanned and all that. But that being said, it means I watched a lot of movies these past couple of weeks. So it's been a good holiday. I too am pretty excited for 2023. It is kind of funny to think of, like, 2 years ago we were like, oh my goodness, they're pushing everything back to 2023. It's gonna be forever by the time we get there, and now we're here, and it's like, oh no, I don't know how I'm excited, but like also terrified of how packed this next year is with movies. So we'll see what happens, but yeah.
I'd like to say since then we're older and wiser, but in reality we're just older.
Yeah,
we've got slightly better stuff, but yeah, we're just older at this point. But also, before we get into what we're watching and everything else, we're just also going to lump this in because we're not going to have news topics this week because, like I said, there's really nothing. There hasn't really been news for a little bit, and we more than likely also won't have news next week for our predictions because that takes a long time, so we'll just do all that unless something major shows up. So we're going to take this little time now. We'll kind of give you a Uncharted Media State of the Union address, so to speak, because if you haven't noticed already, we've already got some things in the work. Over the Christmas break, Josh put out 2 videos, and I put out a whole separate video by myself, so that's 3 videos that you probably weren't expecting. Or, I mean, we took 2 weeks off, so that's probably just still somehow less videos than what we normally. They're completely original and fresh videos stylistically than what you were expecting. So going forward, we're still going to do the podcast. We're still going to have news topics, but Josh and I kind of want to flex our creative muscles, so to speak, here and try and do things different to try and grow our audience. Because again, we've said it before. We spoke it last year. I'm still going, that's a daunting task, but we want to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But also just try new things. We want to experiment more. The most recent video we uploaded, the Top Gun Maverick video, I wanted to try something different. I wanted to try a video essay style that I've seen so many other YouTubes try. I think it did okay, but I want to do more of that stuff going forward. Josh gave his thoughts and review of God of War Ragnarok, which is incredibly well received by you guys. He's going to keep doing Classics Corner. We've got other stuff that we really want to work on besides just the podcast. So if you guys have ideas for us that you'd like to see, whether it's more reviews, more 5 Good Things, more video essays like the Top Gun stuff, or more video game content like the God of War stuff, let us know, because we want to, we're a community here. Give us ideas and we can mooch. I mean, credit them as our own ideas when you give us ideas. But yeah, I'm really like how Josh's videos came out so far. I really like the Ragnarok stuff. I mean, I should, because I was the one that edited them. So if you if you have any presentation problems, it's Josh's fault. If you have any stylistic points like editing issues, that's my fault.
And part of that is also like I'm finally getting like an actual decent like webcam for this, so that we can actually have some decent like shots from me in this case. So it's like there's been a lot of changes on the back end that are going to be able to support you and I to kind of do more stuff than just the pod, and we're both really excited about. So
also, I've said it on some of our social medias before, but I need y'all to hold me accountable here. 2023 is the year it finally happens. 2023, I am finally pitching a Nightwing sequel. I'm determined this is the year that's coming out.
It has the sequel to the video that you did before.
It has been almost 2 years since the last one came out, so yeah, I'm overdue. And also, the story has changed so much, and I'm like, I think I'm finally where I'm at with it. This year, we're trying to just make better use of our time, just be more diligent with our time, but also just try new stuff, experiment with stuff, try new video content, maybe do some video game content. Maybe if you're lucky, if we get to 1,000 subscribers this year, maybe Josh and I will record some gameplay of us playing Uno, in which case, as soon as we get monetization, we get demonetized again.
That's going to get age restricted so fast. Oh my gosh.
Oh, who was the bot that kept messing with me?
I don't remember, because there was like 2 or 3 that were getting you. So over the Christmas break, I decided to take some of the rules that they use in the game and for Uno and implement them into actual Uno, and it has turned out to be the craziest version of Uno that I've ever played. Because like it's one thing to play with like 4 people on a screen, but it's another thing to play with 10 plus people around a table, and everyone's jumping in, everyone's stacking 2s. I think at one point we stacked 4s to the point where it was like somebody had to pick up 25 cards in one go, and I was like, jeez. Boy,
that's chaos theory.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But besides all of our updates, Josh, you watching anything?
So part of this is a lot of what I watch was down at my brother's house in Texas. It's because part of it is we watched some movies, one movie that I hadn't seen and 4 movies that they hadn't seen. So for the first time, I've accidentally said this multiple times, but I've never seen the movie. I finally saw Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Basically just sat on the couch and cried for an hour and a half, because this movie, it's one of those, like, it's so charming and so fascinating, and then the emotions, like emotional notes, like sneak up on you and really kicking the balls, and it's like, gosh, okay, all right, cool, I guess I'm crying now, all right, fine.
That's a movie people don't really talk about nowadays.
I mean, for a variety of reasons. I also, my sister-in-law had never seen When Harry Met Sally, so I was like, well, I love watching that movie, so let's watch that.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, dude, it's in my top 25. I love it.
I've never seen it, and that surprises me that you're like the diehard When Harry Met Sally.
I mean, I wouldn't say diehard, but it's a good time.
If it's in your top 25, you're pretty diehard.
Yeah, that's fair. Not as diehard as my top 3, which is... Again, my sister-in-law had never seen How to Train Your Dragon, and so we were like, well, looks like we're watching all 3. So over the course of like 2 days, we watched
Not
How to Train Your
we
Dragon 1,
at
2,
the
and
10
3.
minute mark. At the 10-minute mark in the first episode of 2023, we already have a How to Train Your Dragon reference.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, she had never seen any of them, and my brother had never seen like 2 and 3. So I was like, well, I guess we're gonna have to watch this.
So it's funny you bring up How to Train Your Dragon, and I get a dangerous idea. So Josh has always toyed with the idea, and half joking, but 100% serious when we joke about this. In 2 years now, 2 years time, Universal's opening Epic Universe. And one of the areas is a How to Train Your Dragon area. We genuinely need Josh to come down here, and we will like film his reaction to the park. I think that would instant money right there. Film Josh's reaction to that, and film my reaction to the Universal Monster section, and then we can film Heather's reaction to Nintendo. As we
all three of our reactions,
as we push small children out of the way. But still,
yes, I'm genuinely, I'm trying to find ways to like come down there. At the very, I think, by the way, I have Twitter now. Apparently, that was something that happened.
Go
over
follow
the
Josh.
holidays.
Josh, where can people find you?
At barely joshing on Twitter. So yeah, I'm on Twitter now. I guess
I think it's funny that when everyone else is abandoning ship on Twitter, Josh is like, nah, I love sinking ships. Let me hop on this thing, man.
I love a dumpster fire. I look at myself in the mirror every day.
That's why he's co-hosting this podcast.
Yeah. No, part of it is because I kind of got tired of being out of the loop news-wise with you. Because little, I guess, pull the curtain back a little bit. Most of the time, I don't learn about news until it's on the on the Google Doc. So
and everyone at home
like,
pretends to be shocked.
Yeah, I know, right? But I wanted that to stop, so I was like, all right, well, I'll bring Twitter in here, so at least like.
And how's it going?
Absolute chaos, and I love every second of it. It's like the most like best thing and worst thing at the same time.
Yep.
Oh, it's so much fun. I'm kind of upset about it, actually.
As much as people bag on Twitter, there honestly is no better social media platform in terms of instantly communicating with whoever it is. Like Facebook, unless it's a friend, people don't typically respond. Like you can follow pages or whatever, but Twitter, there's that. It's much more of a connection there, for better or for worse, people. Besides When Harry Met Sally, How to Train Your Dragon, and everything else, any other things you've been watching, Josh, or playing?
No. This week I'm gonna watch Glass Onion finally, and then I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I might be able to see The Whale by the end of the week as well.
Oh, yeah.
Fingers crossed, because I really want to see it in theaters and not wait until. I mean, I would, even if it goes to a streaming service, I'm gonna watch the crap out of it. But I would really, really like to see it in the theaters first, mostly to. I know I'm one person, but like
support,
nudge the ticket sale bar a little bit. Like,
also, this is the friendly reminder that today, as we're recording this episode, don't forget, Josh, that The Menu dropped on HBO Max, and I'm going. I kind of really want to see that because everyone says it was good. And I like me some Anya Taylor-Joy and my stunt double that is Nicholas Hoult.
I would see. It's one of those like I'm interested, but the trailers make it seem to me at least like it's just like a cannibal horror type situation. So I'm not, and I don't really care. I guess I don't know. It's like it's such an easy thing to do, I guess, in my mind that it's like okay, whatever. I guess sure.
So Christmas and New Year's, it's almost always just movies that my family has seen before. So there was a lot of that. The only movie, since it's the new year, I had to start my movies I watched list over again. So far there's only one, but then again it's January 3rd, and I'll probably watch something after this. So not completely behind. You're behind. But I watched what people were saying was a really, really underrated animated movie from 2021. So I was like, I'm kind of going into this blind, just people saying it's good, called Ron's Gone Wrong.
Hey, yeah.
Have you heard of this one, Josh?
I've heard of it, and I've seen the trailer. So I'm like aware of it, but I hadn't heard anything about it. So I just assumed that it kind of wasn't good, which I guess is, a fault, like my fault for not seeking it out. But did I take it you ended up watching it?
Heather and I both did watch it, and I can't tell if this is Fox's fault or Disney's fault, because I think it was a 20th Century Fox animated movie.
Hmm.
And it might have been caught in the middle of the Disney acquisition of Fox, because I also
Hmm.
saw like no marketing for it, which sucks. Because this is a darn good movie. Like, really, really funny, really, really well written characters. Heather and I both agreed though that it kind of there's at least 2 or 3 points that the movie could have ended and they keep it going or like add another plot to it. And I'm going,
Hmm.
this it doesn't need to be as long as it is. It could have been even better if it was a little more compact. Like not scenes that go on for too long, but actual just chunks of the narrative that they just kind of slap at the end to pad out the runtime. As a whole, it's really, really good and really funny. I will say when we first started watching it, it's basically everyone in the world has these things called B-bots, which are kind of like smartphones except as like companion robots, like an R2D2 type system. Actually, more like Eve from Wall-E. They're like
Okay.
look exactly like that. Uh, and so at first you're just like, oh, this is gonna be a not so subtle beat you over the head of get out and talk to your friends, make actual friends, don't let technology run your life. And that's where it felt like it was going. But then it kind of just turns into, well, here at the 16-minute mark, here's my turn. It feels closer to Iron Giant esque in
Attaboy.
boy
Attaboy.
boy's only friend is robot thing that doesn't work or function properly, and robot has to learn from boy what it's like to be a whatever they are supposed to be, and robot saves boy's life on multiple occasions, and they both grow from each other. I'm going, that sounds, and also some other very, very important story beats that I'm going, ha! That's very much Iron Giant, and the aesthetic's pretty Iron Giant. Heather and I looked at each other a couple times going, where have we seen this main character before? Oh yeah, he's just basically Hogarth from Iron Giant, right down to the ears and everything. Um, but it was super, super charming. It's on Disney Plus. I think you would really, really like it, Josh. There's some lines in this that were really, really well written. The grandma in this is an ex-member of the Communist Party from Mother Russia.
What?
And so
Okay.
there's a
Okay.
scene where the kid leaves his robot at home and he's like, learn everything about me. And so when the kid comes home, his room is just a mess. And so his robot's just like, I learned everything about you. Your underwear combusts at a temperature of 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Or he's like, your something detaches at a Newton pressure of 44 square pounds per inch. And so the next scene, he's pulling on the chicken's head, 43, 44, 45. And I'm going, no! Like, it's got some dark humor when it wants to, but
Yeah, okay, yeah, I would like that. I'd like that kind of movie.
it's very dark.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any secret that I like my animated movies with just a little seasoning of dark humor,
It
just a little bit.
it reminded me a little bit in terms of just humor and overall style, like a Mitchell's versus the Machines somewhat.
Yes,
So
that's
like
all I need.
I think this will be up your alley. It's definitely tonally different and thematically different than Mitchell's versus the Machines, but I think they have that similar what's the two circle Venn diagram. They have a very similar Venn diagram
Got
of
you.
audiences that would enjoy this movie.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess I'll
Oh, okay
have to
there.
watch it then. Oh, okay there, bud.
Oh yeah.
Now I'm just turning into the mom from Mitchell's and the Machines.
Well,
You touched my baby.
which when you say it like that, it just makes me think you ate my enchilada.
You like my enchilada. Oh, okay. So, little side note before we get into kind of our main meat of the pod. So, and you'll see it if any of you guys follow me on any of my socials, you'll see I've changed my profile picture to this stupid picture of me in a hoodie.
Yeah, I
My
was kind of
ears are
wondering
like,
about that.
okay, so I forget why I took that picture. I don't remember why it was a thing that happened. But we woke up the next day, and one of my younger brothers and his wife had taken every picture of me in the house and replaced it with that picture. Oh, it was great. It was so much fun to like walk around the house and go, oh, that's funny. I like that. Okay, cool. Whatever. Keep on just walking down. Oh, hey, look, there it is again. Oh, there it is. And then like it turns out that they convinced everyone in the family to change the backgrounds on their phone to that picture too. So I saw it everywhere for like a week and a half. It was classic. It was so good. So such a good prank.
That sounds like your family. But Josh, you ready to talk about the 10, give or take, movies you're most looking forward to this year?
Yeah, let's go. Let's make a good college try.
Let's make a good lucha thing.
Let's do the thing. Yeah.
Okay. If my mouse would work, cooperate mouse. Okay. So I said give or take because there are so many movies coming out in 2023 that we really, really want to see. So I narrowed it down to only 4 honorable mentions. I was good. Josh, do you have any honorable mentions? Oh, he's giving me a face like he has 12 honorable mentions.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16.
Those aren't honorable mentions. Those are just releases for 2023.
I know. I'm just really excited. I can't help it.
Okay. Power through some of them real quick. Just like,
okay.
well, I mean, we've got time. We don't want to be here all night, but since we have no news topics, we've got time.
X-Men 97, the animated X-Men remake.
Oh, so you're including all forms of media here.
Oh, of course I am. Are you
all
kidding
forms
me?
of Uncharted Media.
Yeah, haha. Loki season 2, Secret Invasion. I'm excited for all that. Renfield I'm excited about Renfield. The Flash. I'm more excited to see
it get over with.
I just want it over with. I don't know if at this point. I think at one point I was excited for it, but now I'm not.
Speaking of the Flash, did you happen to see that terrifying nightmare fuel picture?
Yes. It was so scary.
For those that don't know, basically there's some promo material going around of like people in the Flash. So like Sasha Calle, Supergirl, Ezra Miller's as one of the Flashes, since we know he's playing multiple characters. Michael Keaton's Flash, Michael Keaton's Batman. Although Michael Keaton as Flash, as Jake Eric, that would be cool. Michael Keaton's Batman, and then this absolute freaking nightmare fuel that is the Flash wearing a red version of the Batman suit with the ears chopped off. So it's like a homemade suit, and he looks like the swole neck meme guy. Like,
oh, it's bad. It's so bad. It's so terrifying. Oh my gosh. There's like a lot of like that. That came out this past week. That leaked Batgirl suit picture came out this
trash.
Week. It looks really bad, and I feel really bad about it.
The logo for your Ninja Turtles movie came out.
Oh, dude. Okay. So back to the list. Focus. Cocaine Bear. How can you not like look at that trailer and not be excited for? I mean, come on. It's a movie about a bear who eats tons of cocaine and goes on a rampage. Sounds like a good time to me.
And the sequel should be a crossover with The Wicker Man.
Sure. Why not do like a meth wolf or something?
Like a Sci-Fi Channel movie, Cocaine Bear versus Meth Wolf.
I'm a glutton for punishment, so Expendables 4 is on that. Like I
forgot that was coming out.
I just like this stupid like action movies that Sly puts out. So good times. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. I'm very curious to see where we end up going, who's actually in the movie. I guess this is going to be his, our farewell to Jason Momoa's Aquaman. So kind of
before he becomes the main man.
Apparently, which I'm not exactly against. Excuse me. Wonka comes out this year, and I'm very intrigued. If you're not hyped about Barbie after that first teaser trailer, you don't like movies. Uh, be straight up. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 comes out this year. I'm
Wow, a
not
Tom Cruise movie's actually on Josh's list somewhere, even if it's in the honorable mentions.
It's on it's on the honorable mentions for a reason. I'm excited to see, this is the first time we've ever done a part 1 and 2, so I'm very curious as to how we go about this and what it's going to end up looking like. Indiana Jones Dial of Destinies, just like, it's another Indiana Jones movie, and I know I'm not as high about them as you are, but like, it's just cool to have
not as high as the Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. And of course, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, because I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to Transformers movies.
Yes, you are.
I am unfortunately part of the cult that is like, oh, the trailer was fantastic. There's no way the movie's going to be disappointing.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. John Wick Chapter 4, super excited. I mean, it's got my boy Donnie Yen in it, so how could I not?
Yeah, how's that not in your top 10?
Because the top 10 is so hard to like, just to, because I mean, like, Shazam Fear of the Gods is also, but that's an honorable mention for me, as excited as I am about it.
What?
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that's more, I think, out of curiosity, but that's not on my top 10.
Oh, I'm glad our lists are going to be separate, man.
Good. And of course, honorable mention goes out to Super Mario Bros. Movie, because like, despite the Chris Pratt stuff,
that's an honorable mention.
Yes, dog. Dude. And I think part of this is because I included 3 shows.
Oh, that's your problem. I only have movies.
Yeah, well, the 3 shows I can't not talk about. Shut up, leave me alone. I don't listen to the rules.
You can be redeemed if one of the
me.
shows is The Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
Okay, you haven't completely lost your marbles.
I mean, I have, but that's not the point. What's your honorable mentions there, boss?
I have standards, so I don't have 4. I'm just gonna put the ones that just barely missed the cut. John Wick Chapter 4, because I've loved all 3 of them. However, there's this interesting point that I've thought about with John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah.
Does that mean John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum will go down as the awkward one, being the only one that actually had a title to it? Because it was John Wick Chapter 2, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, John Wick Chapter 4. Like, okay, sure. It's not like we had a separate director for Part 3. There's like, title these guys. No, it's just like, okay. Like, I'm still confused by it. Like,
I mean, I feel you.
I'm excited for John Wick 4. They have yet to let me down. I love that while they're action movies, they have really, really interesting and intriguing lore to them. Like, there's good narrative to it. And in typical John Wick fashion, as we'll talk about next week for our predictions, I, once again, don't think John Wick is winning this movie. Like, he doesn't win. He never wins.
No, he never wins.
He's cliffhanger from Between the Lions. Just when you think he's finally going to get off the cliff. Yes, I made that poll.
Cliffhanger.
Hanging by a cliff. And that's why he's called Cliffhanger. And then as an adult, you realize it's called that because every episode ends on a cliffhanger and you're just going, it's so meta and wonderful. But yeah, I don't think he's going to win this one. But also, your boy Donnie Yen isn't going to win this one either.
No.
Although,
not
however,
chance.
he might leave him alive like he did with Common, who is still kind of somewhere, I guess. And Halle Berry.
If that ends up happening, I have a theory, right? So if Chapter 4 is not the last one, which I don't think it is, I think we got a couple more on this. If that's the case, how cool would it be in the last one, all of the assassins that he allows to live at the end come back to help him fight the last battle.
Alongside,
so good.
Alongside newly introduced Ana de Armas' ballerina.
Yes, which
synergy.
She's so good. Like, she's been killing it the past couple years.
She usually picks pretty good stuff to be in. John Wick Chapter 4, Aquaman of the Lost Kingdom. I love the first Aquaman. It would be on my list had there not been the whole like Amber Heard situation, but 2, it feels like they took too long to come out with this sequel. Like, it
Yeah.
feels like it's been a while, and I know there's a whole, like, earth-shattering pandemic type of thing, but, no, excuses. I kid for the most part. But also, like, a lot of the DC movies this year, as much as I'm anxiously looking forward to what James Gunn is going to do with DC, and I agree with the direction of a full reboot if that's where he's going with it, it does kind of make the movies that are left for this year kind of look like the X-Men movies after Disney acquired Fox.
Yeah.
Like those last two, it
Yeah.
just kind of feels like, what's the point? And that's kind of what I feel with this. And my other honorable mention, The Flash. I still love the character of the Flash. Barry Allen, Jake Garrick, Wally. Like, I like the Flash and Flash mythology. Was a different actor, I would be much more on board with this movie. But Ezra has made it very difficult for me to get behind this movie.
Yeah.
Besides all of their shenanigans, and also the whole, like, does it really matter in the end? And I know some people were just like, but Michael Keaton's Batman's coming back. I'm going, cool. I never cared for him. Like, I know that he's a lot of people's favorite Batman.
Yeah.
But as I go back and watch him, I'm just like, this is a generational Batman. Like, every
Yeah,
generation has their
absolutely.
Batman. Ours, for a while, there was Bale. I think for a good section of kids, it's going to be Pattinson. Well, kids probably shouldn't watch the Batman yet, but or like Conroy. Like, Keaton was not my Batman, but I know a lot of people it was. So a lot of people are going to be going for that, and I'm sure the Flash's marketing campaign is going to lean into that. I still really like the Flash character, so I'm excited for the Flash, even if it's hard to get behind because Ezra is Ezra, and hopefully we get a new
Yes.
Flash, and hopefully it won't be. But God, I would love it if Flash is Andrew Garfield. I've said it for a while.
Oh, baby, let's go. I would be so down. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I've said it
Let's
before.
go.
You just and then just missing the cut at number 11, if I had to give it a rating on this. Timothy Chalamet's Wonka. Y'all know how much of a Willy Wonka fan I am. I'm not going to go down the tunnel diatribe again. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. That's the Oompa Loompas' job. But the fact that it's a Willy Wonka movie, I'm already intrigued by. Did you get the guy that directed the cinematic perfection that is the first two Paddington movies?
Get out.
I'm like,
yeah.
you can't complain. It's the
No, I can't. I see. To be fair, I still haven't watched them, even though Nicolas Cage demands that we all watch Paddington 2 these days. So.
Yes. Thank you, Pedro.
I mean, it's going to be great. I have full faith that I have no doubt that it's going to be at the bare minimum better than Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka.
Which again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Movie is weird and wonky at times. Wonka at times, but it follows the book a whole heck of a lot better than the original one.
Sure
Roald
does.
Dahl writes weird books, and it's a weird movie. So in that sense, they completely nailed it. But the Johnny Depp casting was still a bit off. But all that out of the way, that's all your honorable mentions there, Josh. Right?
Yes.
You're looking at your list. You should know this.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I mean,
Now.
there's a lot of like the issue is there's a lot of stuff that's coming out this year. So like even with my honorable mentions and this list of the my 10 most anticipated, like it's still there's no way I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, same. But I'll kick us off because Josh briefly mentioned it. But my number 10, I wanted some variety here, so I can't just put all superhero stuff. 3, 4. Oh crap! Half the list is superhero stuff, but not number 10. I don't see my number 10 showing up on a lot of people's top 10s because once again, just like 2022's Nicolas Cage movie with the unbearable weight of massive talent, so many of y'all continue to sleep on the talents of Nicolas Cage. Well, I will not. I will wake up this beautiful vampire from his sleep, because y'all are sleeping on him, but he is a creature of the night. He is Dracula in Renfield. My number 10, Chris McKay's Renfield. I am so on board with this one. Nicolas Cage. 2, My Doppelganger. Nicholas Hoult plays Renfield. 3, Chris McKay is directing this. The guy that did Lego Batman and directed the Nightwing movie. Oh, wait, you didn't, Chris. No, I still
You'll
have
never
not
forgive.
letting that go.
Never forgive.
Never
forget.
forgive, never forget, Chris. Like I know him. You watch, he'll find us somehow and be like, okay then. Never meeting those guys. But just the set photo alone of what Nicolas Cage's vampire looks like, I'm going, yes. Yes, please. And then you see like the logo that's been floating around on the set, like looks like the classic Bela Lugosi Dracula. I'm just going, this movie for me and me alone. Like, if it fills Nicolas Cage's lifelong dream of saying, I'm a vampire. Now, I've seen in interviews that Nicolas Cage says the only thing left on his bucket list is to be in a musical, and I'm just going, someone make this happen. Someone.
Do it.
Turn The Wicker Man into a musical, gosh dang it.
No.
Not
Maybe
the
that.
peas.
No.
Yes!
Well, my
Sister
number
Beach
10
has
is
a
certainly,
solo.
my number 10 certainly packs a bigger punch than Renfield.
One Punch Man's
number
getting a movie.
10 is shut up.
Oh.
Is I'm going to talk about my number 10. Jeez. It's going to be Creed 3. I'm super excited. Yeah, kind of crazy that it's down in number 10, huh?
Oh, I just thought because you said packs one big punch, I thought you were going to talk about Invincible, but I'm just like, oh wait, that's assuming that actually still somehow comes out this year.
Yeah, they've said it's coming out this year, but yeah, okay, sure, I'll believe you when I see it. We don't even have a trailer for it yet. Sure, okay. But yeah, Creed 3, absolutely. There's no, how could you, if you have been watching the Creed movies, I don't know how you could not be stoked for this movie, especially with Jonathan Majors looking like an absolute unit.
We joked before, but Michael B. Jordan going to die.
Yes, he is. He might die. Like, why not?
Like father, like son.
I guess, yeah. Geez, but at least this Creed has had like well, I guess I don't know if you can compare. I was gonna say he's had a better career, but maybe I don't know. But yeah, Creed 1 and 2 are such good boxing movies. This will be, I think, allegedly, we'll see, be the first Creed with no Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, that's not an allegedly. I firmly believe that after the comments that he's made.
We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. So I'm excited, and I think Michael B. Jordan's directing and directing this one, isn't he?
It is his directorial debut.
Yes. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited for Creed 3.
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about it for too much because I do have Creed 3 later on my list in kind of that muddled section. But we've already made the jokes, but I still kind of firmly believe it of, wow, it's really, really cool that Michael B. Jordan also saw Warrior with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton. Because
yeah,
it does kind of look like Creed 3 just took the main story threads or some basic outline from Warrior. That being said, I'm not complaining in the slightest. The trailer got me super, super excited. Jonathan Majors is jacked. Doesn't surprise me that the clothes that he's wearing in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania look like baggier clothes, so he can hide how much like just sheer raw power he's withholding from the rest of the world. Which I love that Jonathan Majors in recent interviews is like, yeah, I really want Kang to fight Thor. I'm just going, yes, you can. You can just body Hemsworth right now. I think
not even as Kang, just as Jonathan Majors fighting Thor.
Jonathan Majors is just another Kang variant who, in this universe, pretends he's an actor named Jonathan Majors.
Why not? What could possibly go wrong?
You can't ever fully disprove that.
Yeah, because that is the best part about multiverse theory is like there's no way we could be technically wrong. So boy,
it's funny you bring well, I inadvertently segued us perfectly because
got it.
Jonathan Majors is also my number 9, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
There you go.
I like, but don't love the first Ant-Man's, they're fine enough. I'm more anticipating the ramifications that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania are teasing. Like, don't get me wrong, I think this will be a really, really good movie. The visuals look stunning. It looks creative. It looks different than
Mm-hmm.
some other MCU stuff. Paul Rudd
Mm-hmm.
can do no wrong. I know there's some uproar when it initially happened, but I am actually in favor of the recasting of Cassie. I really
Mm-hmm.
like Catherine Newton
Agreed.
as an actress. I'm really excited to see what she brings to the table. Clearly, she's going to be a much bigger role if they're recasting it with a different actress. Um, I'm looking forward to this. I just really, really hope, and I don't think we will, but I really, really hope we don't get sucked into this with the same expectations that we did for In the Multiverse of Madness of just like
Mm-hmm.
it will explode the Marvel universe in insane new directions and open up a new world of possibility. I think this will deliver on that promise more than a Multiverse of Madness. One,
Yes.
it's the guy writing this is the one writing the next Avengers movie, so there has to be setup for this. The villain is the same in this, Kang, as Avengers The Kang Dynasty, the next Avengers movie, which I'm sure will also tie directly into Secret Wars. Like, this has to have some lead up into it, into the next Avengers, unlike in the Multiverse of Madness. And I know some people are like, well, the Multiverse of Madness did set up some stuff. I'm like, it did, but with a
Did it?
title like In the Multiverse of Madness, to only go to 3 different universes kind of waste the multiverse concept. Now that Josh
Yeah.
has seen a good multiverse movie with Everything Everywhere All at Once, like, it probably makes him even more mad about In the Multiverse of Madness of like the missed
Yeah.
opportunities there. Um,
It really does. Yeah. I think the hard part too here is that um I think Quantum Mania is in a position where it has to deliver on the earth shattering ramifications, because we're going into this this post um Wakanda Forever, like post Phase 4 Marvel universe that's like it's been okay. It has not been a fun ride this past Phase 4. Um, it's been a little bit tough to be a Marvel fan. Um, and in order for us to, I think, as fans, to feel like we are being thrust into a direction at all, Quantum Mania absolutely has to deliver on something that's both good, but also has those world shaking ramifications. I'm gonna put a couple. I know this isn't the predictions episode, but I'm calling it now. I don't think Scott and I don't think Ant-Man Wasp or his daughter make it out of this.
I have my own thoughts on it, but yeah, I'll go into more specifics in next week's episode.
Agreed. Cool. So my number 9 is oddly enough one that has only gotten a poster, and kind of we're not really sure if it's still happening or not. Blue Beetle for me is still one of those, like, I love the character so much, and the fact that they're going with Jaime is super exciting. And we've seen leaked set photos of the suit. The suit looks great. The poster itself looks so cool. It's really hard for me to not be really, really, really excited about the potential of Blue Beetle movie. It does kind of suck with the idea that, like, this might be the only time we see Blue Beetle for a while. But who knows? I think this movie was late enough in its production that there's the potential to have it be the front door, I guess, of the new universe. Or it can there's a possibility of it existing on its own before we get into all of the universe that Gunn is going to be presenting. Obviously, we don't know what all Gunn is going to be putting out there, but I really hope that Blue Beetle gets to stay with it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to Blue Beetle on my list in a little bit here, and we can talk more about it. But I am also hopeful that Blue Beetle can survive. It all really does depend on how much of a connection to the larger universe it does. Because if it doesn't, I don't see a point in scrapping it when it could just fit in somewhere down the road, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we could talk about it in a little bit. What's your number 8 though? Was 8 Blue Beetle?
Uh,
Was 8 Blue Beetle? I'm
no,
trying.
yeah, not, Blue Beetle's 9.
Okay.
My number 8 is this movie has a trailer, thankfully.
Oh.
And which is that feels like something I shouldn't have to say, but like a lot of these movies are still like months and months out, so a lot of them don't barely have any promotional material yet. However, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has easily, next to The Whale, one of the most emotionally gripping trailers so far out there. And I'm not ready for the amount that I'm going to cry in this movie. Um, it is definitely a proper James Gunn farewell to the Guardians of the Galaxy and to the Marvel Universe, to be fair. Everybody looks great. The story looks fantastic. It looks like Dave Bautista is actually trying as Drax in this one. But yeah, it just looks so good. We're definitely going to be diving into Rocket's backstory, which I'm super excited and not emotionally ready for. So it's really hard to not be super hyped for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, once again, we'll talk about it a little bit later on my list. But I just have a thought as I'm looking at this graphic now for the Guardians of just like, yeah, we know these as like their iconic looks from the comics. And I'm happy to finally see them. Now all I need is for Star-Lord to have his like actual comic book helmet.
Mm-hmm.
But what if these aren't their like actual uniforms? And what if this is their funeral attire?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Because suspiciously, in this picture, notice who's missing. And they all look very, very somber and serious. They all look very, very serious in this pose, though.
Wait, aren't they? I think they're in this
at the beginning of the trailer. I know, but
when they go visit that planet, when Rocket's with them,
Rocket's not in that section. I don't think.
I'll go back and rewatch it.
And an excuse to rewatch the trailer.
Oh darn!
Oh no! I have to rewatch an incredibly well-made and beautiful trailer that people have replicated that same style. Did you ever see the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer with with this style to it?
No,
I'll send it to you after this. But someone basically copied this exact same style and did it to No Way Home and going, I've seen this movie dozens of times, but I need to see it again because this is so well done. But yeah, I also have Guardians on my list, but just further down.
Yes.
Next up for me, my number 8, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. This is one that, again, it's hard to fully get into it because we don't know what the future holds. Like, I would love to see Zachary Levi stay on as Shazam, but I think for the best case scenario for this universe, everybody goes like completely clean slate, and maybe they can find a different purpose for him, like have Zachary Levi play a different character, because the kid that plays Billy is growing up really, really fast, and that's kind of the struggle that you run into with a character like Shazam is, in comics, they can stay young forever for as long as the story dictates. It's the Bart Simpson effect. But in real life, people grow old. Time is the secret enemy in Top Gun Maverick, just like time is the secret enemy in life. Shameless plug for that other video. Like time sucks. So Asher Angel's getting older, so I don't know if they'll keep on this continuity of Shazam. That being said, I love the first Shazam so much, especially when it came out in the DC universe. We're getting so inundated with negativity with DC of like, it's not doing well, it's failing, it's bleak, it's dark, it's brooding. I'm like, it doesn't have to be. You have big with superpowers, and Zachary Levi was able to bring in a tremendous amount of heart to it. The Shazamily was perfect. Like, I will still tear up every single time that the Shazamily gets their powers, and the first one to fly is Freddy, and you're just like, oh, it's so beautifully done. It's so perfect. I'm very much invested in this world. I love the first one so much. I really like David F. Sandberg as a director, just as a person, so I really like what he brings to the table. I'm looking forward to this. Just sucks that more than likely this is the finale for this iteration of Shazam, but again, it's so difficult these next couple weeks until we get some form of clarity. James, Christmas break is over. We need answers now, said the needy fans. Trust us, we're the nice ones. I'm sure he's heard much worse online.
Oh, I'm
Poor
sure.
guy.
Well, and I think the best thing about it, James, though, is he hasn't been quiet as far as like talking back to him, like, shut up, guys, leave me alone. I think the thing that Zachary Levi's Shazam has going for it in the kind of change of regime right now is that outside of the headless Superman cameo, it's not quote unquote technically connected to the Snyderverse. So it technically could still survive the whole transition. So I don't hate that idea, but I also don't see why Gunn wouldn't just scrap everything. It makes sense to me. It, however, also would mean scrapping Peacemaker, which I have mixed feelings on. As far as mixed feelings on the idea of scrapping it altogether.
Yeah. And I don't think he is scrapping Peacemaker, but which also brings to the whole question of just like, are we keeping the pieces you made or what?
Yes. Yes. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm just not as excited about it as probably some of the other projects.
They're products of your movie executives.
Fair enough. IPs. My number 7 is The Last of Us. I mean, if you've watched the trailers and you're not hyped, and then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, it's gonna be the best. Like, they are currently milking The Walking Dead for everything it has, and I mean, Walking Dead hasn't been good in years. But The Last of Us is going to be incredible. I'm so intrigued and so fascinated with, okay, I know the story. I haven't necessarily finished the game, so I don't know the entire story. But I'm so intrigued by where we're gonna go and how is this gonna be different from the game, and it just Pedro Pascal is going to be acting his butt off. I'm just excited for everything that this movie is going to be entailing, or this show is going to be entailing.
I'm same. I don't have any shows, but if I did, this would probably be the only show that I'm just like, yes.
Really?
Although, I'm trying to remember if Peacemaker season 2 comes out this year or not.
I don't think so.
But like Loki season 2, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I liked season 1 enough. Honestly, as it stands right now, I'm probably more excited for Secret Invasion than Loki season 2, which I would not have said a few months ago.
Yeah,
but Secret Invasion looks pretty legit.
Too legit to quit.
Daredevil's not coming out this year though. I don't think.
No, that's a 2024.
Yeah, they're filming it for most of this year.
Correct.
That would have been on my list though. Yeah, Last of Us. Like, we've been on board with the Pedro Pascal casting from day one, but as soon as he says in the trailer, "You don't know what loss is," and I'm just like, that's Joel. Like, that's perfect. I'm so ready to cry my eyes out when Sarah dies. I'm ready to bawl when the giraffes show up. Like,
giraffe.
Oh, it's gonna be wonderful. Cause I'm going and replaying it again as the movie comes out, and I hate bloaters so much. Bloaters, but they nailed the sound of the clickers, and I'm just going, oh, that's wonderful. How dare you make that sound so accurate? I hate you, and I love it. I hate it so much. It's bringing me that repressed stress that I didn't think I still held on to. It's that instinctual, like, oh god, no. It's sort of those like, yeah, oh nope, it's like the Mario underwater music. It just stresses you out as soon as you hear it. It's just going, no, nope.
The Sonic underwater bubbles.
Yes.
Like, come on, where's the bubble? Where's the bubble? Where's the bubble? So good. No, yeah, it just, I fully anticipating like 10 minute scenes of nothing but quiet and then trying to figure out how to get around a clicker. I'm excited. I don't know what else to say that hasn't been said, that we haven't said already, but like, it's pretty hard to not be stoked for The Last of Us.
My number 7, I'm actually surprised that it was as low as it was on Josh's list, because it's a character that we both love tremendously. I think I'm more excited just because I've seen what this main actor can do, whereas Josh still steadfastly refuses to watch Cobra Kai. Because at this point, it's just to keep up a bit, I feel like.
Yeah, at
But
this point, yeah.
but Sholomar Duena as Jaime Reyes and Blue Beetle, I am so on board. Like, I was on board when they cast him because as I'm watching Cobra Kai, I'm going, if they ever do a Blue Beetle movie, he would be perfect as Jaime Reyes. Sholomar Duena cast as Blue Beetle. Hey, yo, listen to us. You were right. And then he got all big, and then he wears baggier clothes in the most recent season of Cobra Kai. So I'm going, ah, are you hiding something from us there, Miguel?
Yeah.
But we were super excited. And then we saw the leaked set photos of what the costume looks like. And Josh and I both squealed with delight, just going, oh, that's a practical suit. Not only that, very rarely do set photos look good. Like, we typically don't talk about set photos here on the podcast because it's not official released images from the studio. It's something that got out without their knowledge or consent. Well, when that came out, we're looking at this going, that looks good. Even for a set photo, because typically set photos, they're not lit in the proper conditions. They kind of look rough just because they're not lit properly. They're not in the best way to show off how good the suit looks. It looked good just walking around a set with just broad daylight. So I can't even imagine how good it'll look in a film setting. Also, from everything we've heard from this movie, it's going to be much more intimate, like a small scale individual hero story, which I'm so looking forward to. We don't get those a whole lot anymore nowadays. Everyone's looking for it's the end of the universe. I'm going, it doesn't have to be every single time. Like, as much as No Way Home is a multi-dimensional fabric of reality crushing in on itself, it's also very much a deeply personal story for Spider-Man. That's why I like Shazam a lot. That has no end of the world consequences, really. It's just a dude.
I'm sorry. I heard Shazam a lot, and now all I want is like Zachary Levi playing Shazam in like a Camelot style movie. Like, oh, that's
Shazam-a-lot. Shazam-a-lot.
Sorry. I didn't mean to laugh in the middle of your thing there.
That's why I like Shazam, because it's small scale. It's personal. We don't have to blow up the world or have a sky beam every single time. Like, I just really like the character of Jaime. I think there's a lot of interesting story potential. But also, I think if this is done well, it could be a lot like Into the Spider-Verse of reach a new generation of kids, because heaven forbid we make comic book movies for children, for the next generation that's supposed to be enjoying these. Good idea. But also reaching a demographic that hasn't always been the most represented on screen. Like, it was super cool for a non-white superhero to lead a movie besides Black Panther for Spider-Verse, and for that character to be so beloved from all kinds of audiences. I'm hoping the exact same thing happens with Latin audiences with Blue Beetle, because that's such a core part of Jaime's identity, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing another culture represented. Like, I love they did with Shang-Chi, of it's so different, but it's still very much his culture and family tradition. I just like seeing other people's stories and other traditions stories. It's something different and refreshing, and hopefully we get that from Blue Beetle. Also, I keep forgetting George Lopez is in Blue Beetle. It's just kind of weird to me.
He's the abusive father.
I mean,
yeesh.
He just makes his son watch the intro to his show on repeat.
Oh no! The other thing
every kid in America knows it because of Nick at Night.
You waking up late at night on the couch and being like, "What is? Oh, I'm watching the George Lopez show at 2 a.m, I guess." I think the thing that I'm hoping is kind of like on the Shazam side of things. I'm hoping that if this is very small scale and it doesn't have any larger connections, that we can keep it. James Gunn, can we please keep him? Can we keep him, please? And then if it's also successful and we get to keep it into the new canon, does that mean Static Shock is not far behind?
Young Justice, make it happen. We have a
Yes.
Young
So
Justice movie before we actually have another Justice League movie. I'd be actually 100%. That's the story for Young Justice. There is no Justice League. Justice League disassembled. I know that's Avengers, but whatever. There is no Justice League. All individual heroes that are doing their own thing, and it's the apprentices that are realizing, hey, they're all off doing their own thing. Why don't we come together and do our own thing? There's a thing over here in Happy Harbor. James Gunn, listen to us. We have ideas. They're not good ideas, but we have ideas.
Yeah, I'm just excited though. Like I'm excited about the prospects. And I think that's why like maybe you and I are not as critical of of James Gunn. I mean, we understand the position she's in, but I also know that like this is the guy that made Polka Dot Man an absolute like main character. And actually made us feel things with villains.
You made me
So
cry
like
because of Ratcatcher.
yeah, I completely trust this man with comic book accuracy, with character accuracy, with having like good, like emotionally fulfilling storylines. So I'm excited about Blue Beetle. It's so I really hope that we get a trailer pretty soon here, and I have a feeling that after James Gunn's announcement, then we'll get a trailer. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but.
I
Yeah,
think we'll get our
I'm just
first
excited
trailer.
about this.
I think we get our first trailer in March attached to Shazam Fury of the Gods. Because we know we're getting a Flash trailer at the Super Bowl. So I think Shazam will get a new trailer sometime in the next week or two. And then we'll get a trailer for Blue Beetle during Shazam, more than likely. Josh, what's your number 6?
I'm in the apparently missed the title of this episode.
Another TV show?
Another TV show. If you know me, you know how much I love Rebels, so it's very, very hard for me to not be stoked for Ahsoka.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say Bad Batch Season 2.
I mean, yeah, what? No, not Bad Batch Season 2. Ahsoka, though, like the fact that we're getting a live action Thrawn in
We don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. I mean,
okay,
we are, but
okay, but we are, but that's not the point. Yeah, I'm just super stoked for Ahsoka. The fact that we have it live action is amazing. The fact that we are leaning hardcore into the Rebels storyline is even more exciting. As a Star Wars fan who has followed the animated projects and who I have a lot of faith in Dave Filoni, especially since this is like Ahsoka is his baby. It's very hard for me to not be excited about it. Especially seeing a grown up Ezra and seeing how he could be changing and stuff like that. That's super exciting as well.
So, as my computer's being weird once again.
Woo!
We're at what, 6?
Yeah.
So, I think people are either really, really looking forward to this movie, or they're going to be really, really critical of this movie going into it because of the last movie in this franchise, and that's going to be Indiana Jones. I think everyone's just going, well, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was bad. I'm going, well, I hate to break it to you guys, but the guy that made Kingdom of the Crystal Skull isn't making this movie. I know some people are just like, but Steven Spielberg's not making this one. He made all the other ones. So which is it? Are you happy he's not going to be here? Are you mad that he's not here? Or are you going to keep complaining about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Which I maintain that it's... The only reason people bag on it as much as it is because it's such a quality drop from the first 3. As a movie, it's not that bad. It's just questionable CGI, and it's really the final third with the alien stuff. Before that, it's not a horrible action movie. It's just a bit generic, but it's not terrible. It's just the alien stuff that I think throws it off for some people. I want to like this movie. I love the character of Indiana Jones. I like treasure hunt movies. Shocker. And I think I will like it. I trust James Mangold a lot. Logan is still one of the greatest comic book movies of all time. Ford v Ferrari was excellent. James Mangold is a fantastic director, and honestly, at this point in their careers, I think he might be better suited to do Indiana Jones than Steven Spielberg.
I can
Spielberg
see that.
lately has been more pursuing passion projects, which good for him. Good job, Steven. I don't know how many more movies you're actually directing, so pursue the projects that you're most passionate about, as opposed to this is clearly a studio mandated movie to send off Harrison Ford for one last movie. The thing that's keeping me from like being all in on this movie is the rumored time travel stuff. Like, as you've
Yes.
seen in the trailer, there's clearly extensive flashbacks. Is this just ways to get around the fact that Harrison Ford is older and cannot do as much action? We've talked about it before on the podcast. Some parts in the trailer look outstanding. When he's in the train cart and with like the red and orange light, that looks scary good, like spot on to a young Harrison Ford. However, when he gets kidnapped by the Nazis and they pull the bag off his face, something about his face is just off, and you can go,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's either de-aging or a deep fake or something's not quite right there." So it's this unknown factor here of like, okay, how much of this are we going to be stuck with weird, wonky CG Harrison Ford? And how much of it is the current timeline with older Ford, Phoebe Waller-Bridge? And I know James Mangold's already like shut down fan theories of like, she's replacing him. It's just like every other Lucasfilm thing of replace the character that we know and love with a female. I'm just like, breathe and touch the grass, people. Like, come on, get outside. And James Mangold even said, that is not what's happening at all. No one can replace Indiana Jones. Also, already been down this road before with Mutt, which supposedly, according to this movie, we're going to find out what happened to Mutt. He's not in it, but I swear to God, if you killed Mutt off screen because it's Shia LaBeouf, I'll be so pissed. But I could see them going, yeah, Mutt died in a terrible helicopter crash. He didn't make it. I'm sorry. And Indy will just be like, okay. I didn't really know the kid anyway. I don't even think he was mine. Like something like that. I want to get excited, and I still think I am. At this point, I'm more excited and more anticipating John Williams' final film score more than I am the movie. I'm still excited for
Yeah.
this, but it's just that shadow of a doubt of going, what is this movie actually, and is it just member berries of just like, remember when Harrison Ford was young? Like, I hope it's not.
Member?
Because
Yeah,
Lucasfilm certainly doesn't have a track record of doing that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I want to be excited for it. I'm obviously like, I'm not a huge Indiana Jones fan. I actually kind of enjoyed Crystal Skull, so like I personally have never understood the hate that it's gotten. So I mean, sure, why not? Well, I guess we'll find out what happens when it comes out. I personally am not sure what to think. So we'll see what happens, I guess. Number 5. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is one that I'm honestly surprised is in your honorable mentions and not your like movies itself, because y'all, we were geeking out so hard for the Mario trailer. Like, I'm still shocked that this isn't on your list anywhere, because honorable mentions don't actually count for the top 10. I know people are just like, well, Chris Pratt. I'm like, put Chris Pratt aside for a second. Don't put the man that got stung by a bee for weird reasons aside for a second. Everything else is literally perfect. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, when you sign up for a Mario movie, I don't know why I'm motioned on this audio platform that is podcast. I'm motioning violently with my hands. Everything else is perfect. The musical cues are perfect. The little clip that they showed at the Game Awards, which was a way too long show anyway, was a perfect clip. I'm looking forward to my boy, the greatest of all time, Toad. Toad looks perfect in this. I will lose my mind, but Heather will lose her mind even more of if in the final trailer, the final shot of the trailer is just Mario jumping and landing on a Yoshi as they charge into battle. Like, or like he's riding on a Yoshi and they hop a gap and you just hear the of like his little feet fluttering over the gap. I'm just getting excited thinking about it. But the trailer when the Mario Kart show up, you're just going, that's Rainbow Road. At least one of you aren't gonna make it. I think the voice cast is perfect. The animation style, I've been on the animation side of this from day one. I know some people are just like, Illumination, the people that did Despicable Me. I'm like, yeah, actually, that art style I think really, really works. And so far, yes, this is a Mario movie. Again, I know some people are on the fence about Chris Pratt, but we have not seen the movie yet. If it's still bad after we've seen a movie, then we can have that conversation. But we need to see the full context. As we always stress on this podcast, context is important. You can take any little clip and make somebody look bad. That's why I hate anything on social media. Just like, see how beautiful or how perfect this scene is. And they show like a little 5-second clip. Like, this is why this movie's the best. I'm like, what's the broader context of this scene? Just because something looks pretty doesn't mean it's good. Isn't that right, Zack Snyder?
Isn't that right, James Cameron?
Well, James Cameron's bank account right now says otherwise.
I mean, yes.
He's just rolling in blue people money. But I'm like, as someone that grew up playing the Mario games, not like my favorite franchise, but everyone grows up with Mario. I got the chills watching the trailer, and I don't think there's a single thing I would change about it. I'm so looking forward to this movie.
I mean, I'm excited. I think I'm just wary. As any kind of video game adaptation, I think we've been trained at this point to be wary of them, just because.
No, it's not like one of us dove headfirst into excitement for Uncharted last year.
Yeah, like really, it's so wild that the winner right now, as far as best video game adaptations, is the Sonic movies. Like, they're so good, but to be fair, even then they're more an adaptation of like some of the actual like TV shows and stuff like that. So it's just I want to be excited for it, and then to an extent I am, but I'm definitely more wary than I am anticipatory.
I will
My number 5.
Before you move on, though, I'm not letting you off the hook. I will still hold it over your head about the Sonic movie that you thought the first Sonic was going to be one of the worst movies of the year, and it would bomb at the box office because Sonic had calves.
But like, that's so easy to say in hindsight, but like,
it's worse than your Tom Hardy take. Your Tom Hardy Wolverine.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like if you think about it, they got the design of Sonic wrong right off the bat. So it was like, okay.
Did they?
They did. I'm not letting you get away with that.
I'm still sticking with that there until I die.
They got that wrong, and the history of video games movies was not a strong one up at that point. And it ended up being way better than we thought it was going to be. And then the second one is both equal parts amazing, equal parts terrible, but like meets it right in the middle of like perfection. So it's easy to say how stupid I look in hindsight, but like at the time, I don't think I really I think I was pretty spot on with my thinking. So
all right, what's your next one?
This is the last show, I promise. Mandalorian season 3. So
see, that one's fine. That's
easy. That's easy.
You watch. This is just a bait and switch. They'll be like, so you know how you got an episode of the Book of Boba Fett where you just spent all the time with Mando? You're gonna have one episode here where you just spend all of it with Boba Fett instead. That's how a trade works, and everyone's just going, hey, Steel keeps getting worse all the time.
I personally wouldn't mind it if it's a good episode. That's the thing. It has to be a good episode. But like that one episode that's all Mando and Boba Fett is so good and does a good job of getting you super hyped.
It's the best Book of Boba Fett episode.
I love his new ship. Are you kidding me? Let's go. I think my only gripe, and I think I've said this on the pod before, and I know I've said it to you before, is we spent 2 full seasons trying to get Yoda, baby Yoda, getting baby Grogu to a Jedi to get him trained. And then the first chance he has to leave his Jedi training, he leaves. It does kind of feel a little. I want to say cheap, but that's not exactly what I think what I'm trying to say here. But like it does feel a little bit like, okay, well, that kind of
Well,
makes the meaning the finale of season 2 not as a big of a deal if he's going to end up leaving,
not
first chance he
necessarily.
gets.
Again, like we brought up earlier, context could be important. Like this
Oh,
could play
fair.
into season 3 and season 4, so to speak, of like we know Mando's gonna have to go bathe himself in the waters to redeem himself for showing his helmet, which is all an action because of Grogu. So I don't know. I'd say we have to wait for the whole thing to play out before we write it off. Like we're in the
That's
middle
fair.
of the story, as we're judging the finale based of the book when we're still in the middle of the book, so to speak. But
That's fair. No, that's absolutely fair. I just think it definitely in this particular moment does put like a little bit of a sour note on the Luke return, which as much as I loved it, it's still like, was it worth it? Was it? So we'll see, but it doesn't make me any less excited for season 3. So just it has been by far the best Star Wars content we've had since Disney picked everything up. And I'm excited to see what more world building, John Favreau and Dave Filoni end up doing. So,
that was your number 4, correct?
5.
That was your number 5. So my number 4, we talked about it earlier, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah,
For a little bit there, my 4 through 1, I think all of them could slot into my number 1 spot at one point or
yeah,
another. Probably were my planning. This was my number 1 for a little bit, but the more I thought about it, I'm just like, oh, it's such a close race between these final 4. But that first trailer, like, I really, really enjoy the first Guardians. Not as much on 2. Like, I just thought it was too
it was fun.
immature. Like, it was whatever. It didn't go full Love and Thunder with it, but it was a little too goofy, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
But since Guardians 2, James Gunn has done The Suicide Squad, which I'd still maintain is the best DC movie to date so far, like in the main universe or whatever, and the Guardians Christmas special, which is so good. Like, yes, it's a funny, quirky holiday special, but there's genuine emotion to it. It's written
Mhm.
really, really well. It advances the characters. I used to have a problem with Star-Lord, and I would play the Guardians of the Galaxy video game that came out on PS5 a while ago and be like, why can't the Guardians be more like this? Well, we get to the holiday special, and they are more like that. They are more of like a dysfunctional family. Star-Lord does feel more like an actual leader and like actual controlling unit of the team. We also got a little bit of that in Love and Thunder, but I pretend Love and Thunder didn't happen. Um, the Guardians were not the problem with Love and Thunder. They're actually represented quite well, and Star Lord is too. I know people have their issues with Chris Pratt now, but I think this will be his best turn as Star Lord yet. Um, I'm just really looking forward to this, just based off that trailer alone. That trailer is so good, and I still maintain that one or more Guardians will die, but we'll talk about this
Yeah,
next week for our predictions. And when they eventually do, like the Yondu thing hit hard in Guardians 2, it'll hit even harder for this. Um Actually, now that I think about it, when I go back and rewatch the first 2 Guardians in preparation for Guardians 3, I think the Yondu death is going to hit even harder having seen the holiday special now. And
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
the fantastic scene with the 2 blasters of realizing that that was a gift from Yondu to Peter. I'm just going, that's a
Hmm.
wonderful touch of like adding actual emotional depth to this throwaway Christmas show that, well, it's supposed to be throwaway, but it ends up being pretty important actually. Just excellent trailer. I think James Gunn has only grown and improved as a director, and I really like his work so far, and I think he's only honed his skills even more. I just think this will be the best Guardians yet, and it'll be a really wonderful send off to these characters that have Been a little up and down in the MCU, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think this is true for me as well. Um, I'm also excited for the Guardians 3. I am not sure how we keep these characters around without James Gunn. Um, so to me, it's almost hard to not think that they're going to be put in a situation where they all die, because I mean, Drax isn't coming back. Um, it would be weird to see them show up under other directors after, if this movie ends up being fantastic. So we'll see what happens. I just wouldn't write off that they don't all make it out of this movie yet. So much like you, my last four are kind of like, for the most part, interchangeable. And I think when we get through all of them, I don't think you're going to be surprised at all for mine. But my number four is a movie that we all discounted and we all thought was going to be garbage because by the nature of it. Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves is going to be easily one of my favorite movies this year. I think regardless whether it's good or bad, I'm just excited about it. I'm excited that we finally have, Dungeons and Dragons kind of represented in a what looks like at the very least, a very high quality setting. I love fantasy movies. I love even more fantasy movies that don't necessarily take themselves too seriously and don't lean too heavily into the we are serious art, we are fantasy art. Like, this is clearly a bunch of people who have a lot of love for Dungeons and Dragons and understand that the best part about playing it is you're not taking it too seriously. So I'm very excited for everybody's performances in it. I'm excited to see what happens as far as story. I'm excited to see what spells we get to see, what kind of characters we get to see. Because it looks like we're also getting some practical effects going on in it. It's very hard. I'm so excited for Dungeons and Dragons, and I never thought that, like, when they announced the movie, I don't think I would have ever thought that I would have been in that position.
Now, the question is, due to the success of Stranger Things, which I think will actually help this box office, do you think Vecna is the main villain?
No, I don't think they do that. What I will be intrigued will be is if a character dies and then a new character shows up to join the party and it's just the same actor but clearly a different like character. I'd die. I might die and go to heaven. That's so funny to me. I don't know what villain we're going with because Honor Among Thieves is so vague, and I think that's on purpose. They say that they unleashed an evil on accident or something, and
Vecna!
If it ends up being Vecna, honestly, I'm not mad. I think that's the thing. It's like, it could be, and that's fine. I do kind of hope it's more like a mind flayer or something that's more quote unquote traditional when it comes to D&D, but we'll see what happens. Nobody goes against Vecna on their first campaign. Are you kidding me?
Save it for the sequel.
Exactly.
What's your number three?
Number three, and this is where things got, I know things got really tough for you as well on these. Number three is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, I don't feel as bad for not having it as my number one anymore. Okay.
Yes. I am super excited for this movie. The trailer, and I'm thankful for this, doesn't give us as much as story-wise. It doesn't really tell us anything other than there's a whole Spider-Verse out there where even the video game Spider-Man are. So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here. That line, the line alone that sold me on this movie is that one towards the end where it was like, I thought we were supposed to be the heroes. And it's like, we are. Oh, dude, that's good. Let's go with that. I absolutely love that. I think what's interesting is now, because of how many Spider-Man are showing up in this movie, I think gives even more credit to your theory that this will not end in the animation genre. I would be not surprised at all if because this is technically a part one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised by the end of part 2 if we are in a live action setting.
I could see it. I could see it. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk more about this very, very briefly.
Yeah,
Because it's pretty soon for me. But my number 3 is Creed 3.
there you go.
I love Warrior so much. I don't even care that Rocky's rip. It's Warrior meets Rocky. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I already naturally love the Rocky franchise. It's one of my favorites that I consistently enjoy, even when they're cheesy and campy and dumb. But I really like the Creed movies. I am in the minority. I actually like Creed 2 better than the first Creed, just
Okay.
because that gets more into the traditional Rocky archetypes of just like, well, here's a little bit of Rocky 3 and a whole lot of Rocky 4, but also somehow makes Rocky 4 even better. And Rocky 4 is one of my favorite in the entire franchise. Like, I still get chills up my arm when Drago just pops him and he drops to the floor and he's slowly like pounding the mat and he gets back up and the ref's like,
Mm.
what is your name? Creed. What's your name? Creed! He comes back and then just starts wailing on Drago and he knocks over Drago for the first time. Bump, bump, bum, 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 bum. It's the first time they've used the Rocky theme in that movie. I'm just going, way to make your music actually count and mean something. Let's go. So I'm super amped to see this. I love fight stories just in general, like
Yeah.
Never Back Down, Rocky, Warrior. Here Comes the Boom. Shout out Kevin James. Don't care.
That movie
Love it.
surprised me so much.
So good. It shouldn't be that good, but it is. But I also love deeply personal fight stories, and that's what this seems to be, of not literal brothers, but like brothers from another mother, so to speak, of like we're brothers for other reasons. And this like, oh, this tension. I knew I was going to be on board for this either way, but the moment in the trailer that I knew I was going to be on board with it is at the end where it's like, let go of your doubt, let go of your, and close up of him in the corner when he's surrounded by all of his gang and everybody else, like all of his strangers and everything else. Then zoom in on Jonathan Majors, who has no one around him, and you're just like, oh, I love it. I love it so much. Of just like, it's these two men with pain and sorrow in their hearts just gonna beat the crap out of each other. That is why I love stories. It's literally just a professional wrestling match, except probably more cohesively told. Like, if anybody ever asked me why I like wrestling, yeah, flippy stuff is cool, but story matters too, people. I love a good combat story, and if Michael B. Jordan is able to land this on his directorial debut, he'll be one of my favorite people in the world, just from an acting and directing standpoint. And in the words of Palpatine, I'll be watching your career with great interest. Like, I'm so ready for Creed 3. I also don't know if I believe that Creed will win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if something happens at the end of this that takes Creed out of the game for a while, especially since they're jumping ahead in his career.
Yeah, like 7 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if this ends up being the last Creed for him. And I honestly wouldn't hate that at all. I love a good trilogy. So I kind of think I know what your number 2 is. Do you want to go ahead and move in?
So my number 2 is Across the Spider-Verse. We need to get back to that, I guess.
Yep.
I really loved Into the Spider-Verse. I think it took everyone by surprise.
Yeah.
I am a bit hesitant going into the second one. I know everyone and their mother is excited about the potential cameos, and I don't think the cameos are going to let out. We already know, like, PS4 Spider-Man's going to be in there, and Spectacular Spider-Man, and I'll have some predictions next week about some other Spider-Man that I think are going to be in it. I do want us to temper expectations of going,
yeah,
the cameos aren't what's drawing us into this story. I do not want that to overshadow the rest of the Miles' story, because while we love Into the Spider-Verse is Miles' journey, and Josh sent me this great video weeks ago during Christmas break of like the deeper meaning and the power behind the imagery of Into the Spider-Verse when he jumps off the building and he's falling, but he's rising, and it's one of the best shots like ever. It's that old adage of a picture's worth 1,000 words. That is that personified. It's beautiful. I I hope that this story is still focused, and I trust that the team will keep it focused about Miles. But so far, so much of the marketing is we've got so many different animation styles. We've got so many animators bleeding and sweating over this production. I'm going, crunch time is not good, people. They're like, we've got all these different cameos and characters that are introduced. I'm just like, is it still a Miles story? That's all I want to know. Like, I'm still excited for this movie. I really am. That's why it's my number 2 most anticipated movie of the year. But you gotta prove to me that it's still a Miles story. Like,
Yeah.
the heart and soul of that first movie. I was a big Miles Morales fan going into it, but between that and the video game, I really enjoy the character. Does this movie still do justice to him, or is he going to end up being a supporting character in this really, really incredibly stacked cast? That's my only concern with it.
Yeah. So I am going to go out on a limb here and say that the scene that we see with all whether he's like interacting with all those Spider-Men, I think that's going to be the only time we see everybody. I think they are intentionally still hiding a like 95% of this movie.
The villain Spot.
There's no villain.
Yeah, there is.
Who?
Spot. They already confirmed that the villain's Spot.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. And we have not seen him at all. So
only in like concept art.
Yeah, I would not be surprised as if the we see all those Spider-Men, and that's the only time we ever see them. We still have our Miles core. We still have a core like 4 or 5 Spider-Men, Spider-Women around Miles on this adventure. But I think that big, shot of everybody, I think that's it. I don't think that.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. To be fair, we saw the trailer for Black Adam and we're like, clearly they're hiding a bunch of stuff. There's no way they spent the entire movie in this
even
one
the movie
city.
doesn't know.
Yeah. Let's not go on a Black Adam tirade because
that movie. What's your number 2, Josh?
I think you won't be surprised about this. For me, my number 2 most anticipated film of the year is Dune Part 2.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that's coming out this year.
I know, it's super. Dune was one of my favorite movies. What was it? 2018, 19? No, that was during the pandemic.
20.
That was 2020. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. But yeah, one of my favorite movies that year. It's one, oddly enough, that I've gone back and rewatched. It's not a movie that you would think I'd be able to put on in the background and just do stuff with, but like that's absolutely like one of those. It's in my like top 10 now. Like movies that I've watched so much and I've enjoyed so much. I mean, it hits every note for me as far as fantasy and sci-fi and philosophy and stuff like that. So it's really not that surprising, I guess, if you know me on a personal level. But I'm so stoked and so interested to see where we go from here, because I've not seen the original movie. I've not read the books. So I'm going in intentionally, for the most part, completely blind here. I don't want to know what I'm going into, because I want the movie to show me, and I want to explore that on my own there. I'm so stoked to see Timothy. I'm so stoked to see Zendaya more, because she's barely in the other one. Seeing more Dave Bautista's character will be awesome. I will be sad that we won't see the big magnificent beard of Oscar Isaac anymore, but like I'm so excited for Dune Part 2. I don't think we've gotten a trailer yet, so I'm kind of waiting on that.
It's like Thanksgiving or Christmas, so you still got a lot of time.
Yeah, we still got time. I'm not too worried about it, but I really am excited, though, for Dune Part 2. It's number. It made it above all these other films, so it's like it's not that surprising, I guess, that I'd be super stoked for it.
So then the question is, what's number 1? And is Scott Adkins somehow in this movie?
I don't think so.
Never know, man. What is it?
He would have to be a voice, because it's Seth Rogen's.
Of course it is.
TMNT's Mutant Mayhem. Like it's so wild that saying that Seth Rogen is doing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie is crazy. Saying that I would be excited about it feels crazy. But and like we've seen like very vague concept art that I actually personally really liked.
It's a
But like
whole
they
lot
really
better
the
than
only
the
thing.
most recent Ninja Turtles concept arts.
Yes. But like I am just off the logo, it's alone. I'm so stoked. I showed the logo to my brother, and he was like, "Yeah, like that alone gets me excited because that feels like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That feels like it's something that's going to be ripped from the comic books." Especially, I've been theorizing that they're going with the IDW run, which would be super wild, super cool, and be something fresh that we've never seen on screen before. And there's so much to be excited, and it's crazy how, at least for me, that Seth Rogen has gone from this like stoner movie guy, dick joke guy that just made movies that were kind of garbage but fun, to easily one of the most respected filmmakers in the business right now.
Very versatile.
Very versatile, and like he himself has improved his acting ability, let alone
I
his
actually
directing
really
ability.
like him as an actor.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
liked him in the Michael Fassbender Steve Jobs movie when he was Woz.
Yes.
Really good in that. I like him a lot in The Disaster Artist, as the director Sandy. I still need to see The Fablesman, and
Mhm.
supposedly he's really good in that. Yeah, he's becoming really, really well rounded. He's not the stoner guy anymore. It's him. He's got a writing partner that he does a lot of stuff with that he's, I think, doing the Ninja Turtles movie as well with too. But
Not a joke, but I'm pretty sure his last name's Goldstein.
I think it's Seth Goldstein, maybe.
Something like that,
Is it
yeah.
Colt Cabana's brother?
No, but like
One of Colt Cabana's brothers is a Family Guy writer, so
the only reason I know this is I've seen the roast of James Franco like 4 or 5,000 times, and their roast, who is it? Nick Kroll looks at Seth Rogen and goes, "What about like the fact that of like you have this Jewish writing partner who like Goldstein or something, and you're the face of the operation?" Oh
but
man.
is this a theatrical release movie? I can't remember.
As far as I'm aware, yes. Now, obviously
Paramount,
it's
it never.
yeah, well, but like Paramount's also like been the one that's consistently putting out bangers. I would
Tom
think
Cruise voices Shredder.
no. No. No,
Tom
no.
Cruise voices Hutton.
If I had anybody voicing Shredder, it would be the guy who does the voice for
BD Wong.
How to Train Your Dragon 2's villain.
No, BD Wong from Jurassic Park and Jurassic World.
Yomen Hansu,
Ooh,
I think.
really?
Is his name? Yes.
Diamond
God,
Hansu?
he's so good. Yes.
Tom Cruise is Casey Jones.
Couldn't be any worse than Stephen Amell's.
Oh, I'm
right.
gonna be a detective.
No, you're not. Shut up. What about you? What's your number one most anticipated movie of 2023?
So my number
and
one.
why is it Barbie?
So every once in a while, you just gotta wear tux to the theater, and Minions wouldn't let you do it. So no, it's not Barbie. Full disclosure, my number one when I was making this list changed like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, I bet.
Guardians 3 was there for a little bit. Creed 3 was there for a little bit. Across the Spider-Verse was there for a little bit. So all these are kind of in the same general area. But then I look at the cast for this movie and I'm going, honestly, this is consistently one of my favorite franchises with a creative force that was responsible for my favorite movie of last year. There's no reason to doubt Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Like,
there you are.
I consistently
wondering.
I consistently love almost all the Mission Impossible movies. I especially like what Christopher McQuarrie has done. A lot of the movies before that, before he took over, were very much just like one shots of like different team each time, different mission each time, which is cool. But I like that they almost kind of build on each other now. There's an actual narrative. There's like one specific team. I get that the past way used to be more like a TV show of like, here's the mission, here's the specific team. But with Christopher McQuarrie's direction, it's very much, here's your core cast. We're going to get you emotionally invested in this cast. we're going to do the big stunts that everyone expects, but we're going to have logical reasons for why the big stunts are going to happen. Like why Tom Cruise is hanging out the side of a plane at the beginning of Rogue Nation, or why Tom Cruise has to hold his breath for 7 minutes in Fallout, or why he's falling out of a plane with Henry Cavill, which there's a line in Mission Impossible Fallout that I still don't think gets the credit it deserves, of when Tom Cruise is explaining to Henry Cavill like the safety of like the parachute and everything. He's just like, and the last thing that will be going through your head is your kneecaps. And I'm just going, jeez, that's such a, like, he says it in such a fast way that you don't think about it at first. But I loved Top Gun Maverick. And you'd be like, well, it's just Tom Cruise starring in it. Yes, but Tom Cruise with Christopher McQuarrie again. Christopher McQuarrie wrote the general story for Top Gun Maverick, and I think the story is the big part of the reason why it works. Yeah, planes go boom in real time. That's cool and all, but as I did a full 7-minute video, it's the story and the character arcs are really what I think resonated with people with Top Gun Maverick of, yeah, it's more than just planes go boom. It's a man realizing, oh, balls, I'm going to die someday as I'm watching one of my best friends die. I can go boom, but I can't outrun time. Christopher McQuarrie humanized Maverick. He humanizes the characters in Mission Impossible. In these big, elaborate stunts, he still finds the humanity. Adding to the fact that we're getting Pom Klementieff from Guardians of the Galaxy in this movie. We're getting Haley Atwell, who's not my favorite, but I think it's cool that she's in this. Rebecca Ferguson's back. Simon Pegg's back. You got a new villain. Granted, this is a part 1, so I would not be surprised if at all if this ends on a cliffhanger. I just love what Christopher McQuarrie has done with the Mission Impossible franchise so much. I really love what he did with Top Gun Maverick. I fully expect that will translate. I don't think to that level in terms of box office. But I think he'll continue his hot streak. I know Christopher McQuarrie didn't direct Top Gun Maverick. That was just Krasinski, but he still had a heavy hand on it. I also really like, from what we're hearing, this Mission Impossible, since it's the second to last one that they're making with Cruise and everything, they're trying to bring this full circle, and they're bringing back story elements from some of the earlier Mission Impossibles, which I think is a really cool, smart way to bring everything, tie it all in together. When sometimes they feel a little bit like individual stories, you can find ways to fit the pieces together and to make it one nice collage, so to speak. I'm just really excited about Dead Reckoning. That being said, any of my top 4 or 5 could be slotted in by number 1, depending on the day and if there's a good trailer or not. Because the big thing holding back Dead Reckoning, let's be honest, was that piss poor trailer. That was real bad.
Which oddly had no sound. Like, what are you doing, dude?
It's a Tom Cruise trailer. Tom Cruise doesn't believe in having correct sound effects in his trailers, the mummy.
Apparently. And obviously, like, the only reason that it didn't even make it on my list is because Mission Impossible for me has never been like that series for me. It's by all means, I love that you love it. I definitely will say the more recent Cruise Mission Impossible movies have definitely won me over, and I'm excited to see where they take it. The fact that they're just the fact that they're doing a part 1 and 2 immediately hooks me in. So I'll be excited to see where they go from that. That being said, even like just from our list of 10 and then our runners up, there's so many movies coming out this year, so many good movies coming out this year. I'm just like, there's apparently a Wes Anderson movie coming out this year that I didn't know about. So like, okay,
Oppenheimer. Cool. It'll blow us away.
Hey, yeesh.
And the camera operator.
Apparently. Oh man, the memes that have come from that are great.
It's gold.
I think for me, like, I just have never been like, to be fair, I guess we haven't had a trailer yet, but like, I'm just not a Christopher Nolan guy anymore. I think if you would have come to me about 10 years ago, maybe, and said that, hey, Christopher Nolan is doing a quote unquote biopic about the creation of the atomic bomb, like, that sounds interesting in concept, but I don't know. I'm not really that really excited about it, even though the cast is absolutely stacked.
Everyone is in this, and Josh Peck for some reason. And this time he's gonna steal Oppenheimer's enchilada, and that's why the bomb goes off. Bringing it full circle on this. But what do you guys think? What are your most anticipated movies of 2023? It's going to be a little bit weird getting used to saying 2023 for the first couple weeks. But let us know down in the comments below what your most anticipated movie or TV show, in Josh's case, project of 2023 is. We always like hearing from you guys. And if you haven't already, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. That's our 2023 goal. You can help us get there. Help us think of some fun thing that we can do once we get to that goal to celebrate. If we get it this year, like a big thing that we can do. And as always, stay sharp, movie guys and gals.